Dave Doran has always put a pretty solid defense on the football field. I've never felt like, I haven't watched a just ton of NC State football since he's been there, but, decent amount. They're always fairly competitive in the ACC, and he's always put a pretty good product out there.
He's equivalent to like Mark Stoops in the SEC, I'd say.
It just always like he's going to pop up, have a 9-win season, and keep him around there.
Yeah.
And hey, there's a lot of merit to that and being able to do that. But I've never felt like he's just, oh man, he really coached these guys up and he took them to a different level from where they could be. And but the thing that just gets me with this game is just the talent disparity. Nug says it right here. It says Doran can scheme to stop it, but he doesn't have the dudes. And that is my biggest overarching thought with this game is just Tennessee has more guys. The defensive line should eat. The offensive line should be able to hold. While NC State's defensive line, definitely not bad. Probably got some guys on it that are at least going to compete to make it to the NFL. But the offensive line, again, barring anybody getting injured or unforeseen circumstances, the offensive line should be able to hold up. Nico should be able to operate. I think Dylan Sampson's going to eat in this one because how much see the exact stats of Western Carolina. Am I wrong? It seemed like Western Carolina gashed them pretty well. I don't remember if it was all through the air and all the details there. But let's say if Western Carolina could run on these boys, Dylan Sampson should go for 200.
Yeah, that's a game where NC State's depth kind of helped them win that game. Not that NC State has like elite depth or anything. I don't know their roster from top to bottom, but they have more depth than Western Carolina. Obviously, they have more talent than Western Carolina. That usually, we see it all the time in these games where they're close at halftime, close into the fourth quarter, but then the team with the more talent usually ends up prevailing just because they got more guys, and it's tough to go out there and play 3 hours like that or 4 hours for college football game because they're absurdly long. But I think that was probably the case there.
I think it absolutely was because you just saw it. They just ran out of dudes as an FCS team would in that situation. They did run on NC State 120 yards on the ground. Cole Gonzalez alone 75 yards on 6 carries, 12.5 yard average.
Now imagine spreading that NC State defense out and getting the ball with Dylan Sampson.
Good luck, boys. That's and so it just feels like Tennessee just has more dudes at every spot. Now, could Tennessee get thrown on with the DBs not being the best unit for Tennessee? Yes. And I honestly, much like it's been with Heupel the entire time here, NC State's probably going to get some here. They're probably going to get 14, 21 points or something, and you are going to have to run it up at least that much, probably. They were able to put 38 up on Western Carolina. What does that translate to against Tennessee's defense? Now, Tennessee's defensive line is just eating them alive. Maybe not. Maybe they don't score that much. You saw it. What, 22 and what, that Texas A&M game last year? What did they hold Texas A&M to? 13 in that game?
Yeah.
They've had their moments.
Yeah, I don't think we really know for sure about this secondary quite yet. They didn't play that full game together against Chattanooga. No. It's such a hard game to evaluate secondary play anyway. I'm not going to say they're going to be better than we expect. I think the possibility is there for them to be better than we expect. I think they really like Jermod McCoy, Boo Carter, if he played, more experience he gets. They really like Ricky Gibson. Turrentine has a ton of experience. I think they could be better than we think.
Jermod McCoy was a guy that, as I was saying, I kind of listened to some national analysis, Andy Staples and some different guys. And Jermod McCoy is brought up multiple times.
He was really good as a true freshman at Oregon State.
Yeah, and hopefully that translates over to Tennessee and the SEC. That would be really exciting just to get a real dude back there in the defensive backfield. But, again, if the defensive line eats, the defensive backs are not going to have to be that great in this game. If McCall is just running for his life, that although what I could see is that they try to game plan around it like Tennessee sometimes has had to do. you roll the guy out a lot to try to avoid sacks and there are things that you can do to try to avoid that because they got to be looking at their whole season too, especially if you're not going to expect to lose this one, but if you're NC State, you got to play your odds here and go like, okay, we do have to play some kind of a longevity game here. We can't let our guy just get murdered out there. And so I would expect probably some of that, and maybe he's quick outs, rolling them out, some things like that. Well, because if they don't do that, I think Tennessee is going to eat this dude alive. So good luck.
Yeah. It's. I mean, that was the A&M. Who was that? Was that Max Johnson? Who was that at A&M? He got. I mean, he was. I felt bad for the guy at some point. He was doing all he could. Yeah, I mean, he just couldn't get rid of the ball fast enough. He had no chance.
So when I look across the board at this game, Tennessee is just better at most positions. With that said, I'll throw it to you now, Zach. We're coming up on an hour here. Don't have too much time left. Your score prediction for this one. How are you feeling about the Dukes Mayo Charlotte Classic or whatever?
I think Tennessee's defense is going to play better than we think. They'll give up some points because it's not Chattanooga. I think they're going to score. I think it's going to be like that 2012 NC State game. Those are the vibes I'm getting. Even though it's not quite the same hype, NC State that year was getting some weird hype because of, I don't even know why. That was the David Amerson game where Cordero Patterson torched him. I think it's going to be that kind of game, though. It has that feel, and Tennessee's just so talented. I think it's something like 45-13 Tennessee. Like I think they roll. I think they roll and
blowout.
There's been far too many times that I've went conservative, especially in 2022 on Tennessee scoring points. But at this point, with this quarterback and what we saw, I think they're going to put some points on the board.
You and Nugs feeling similarly, 45-17. He gives NC State a little more credit than you do. If you do have a score prediction for anybody that's watching, drop into the comments and we'll read it out, see who's right after Saturday. I feel pretty similarly. I think this is going to ultimately be a pretty comprehensive win for Tennessee. They are just better at pretty much every level here. Defensive line should be able to work, and Nico, I don't. He's going to be much more pressed than he was against UTC, but I don't see, just a ton of work. I think NC State did lose one of their top linebackers, I think, in that game to a targeting call against Western Carolina, but I think he'll be back. Football is back, and what better way to bet on the big games than on Zen Sports, the new sportsbook in Tennessee that's bringing sports betting to a whole new level. When you sign up for Zen Sports, you'll automatically earn up to a $100 no-danger first wager. If your first bet loses, you'll be reimbursed for the amount of your bet up to $100. And for the football season, Zen Sports is launching a revamped betting platform for both college football and the NFL. And what's better? With our new look, Zen Sports will be offering daily promotions, including odds boosts, same-game parlays, no-danger wagers, and much more. Zen Sports also offers a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program, and if you qualify, you can earn monthly comps at sporting events, concerts, and even sportsbook bonuses. It's by invite only, so go to zensports.com/VIP for details. What are you waiting for, football fans? Start betting with Zen Sports, where you will receive true odds on all parlays and an enhanced user experience. Get going. Download their app at zensports.com today. Zen Sports betting just got better. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. No danger. First wager limited to plus 500 odds to qualify. Boosted odds are derived from equivalent parlay bets offered in Tennessee. Must be 21 or older in Tennessee to bet. Zen Sports. They'll either miss him for a half or he'll be back for the full game. I don't exactly remember, but he did get ejected, and I think a defensive
that was
back
in the first half. So yeah,
defensive in one of the shows I was listening to today.
Yeah,
one of
the safety is it the one that I think towards ACL last season.
Yes,
he's still out.
Yeah. The defensive back may not be playing, so regardless, I don't. Their defense is going to be essentially 100% or close to it. and it's still just not a world-beating unit. And I think Tennessee, as we were saying, they'll spread these guys out. They'll run the ball like crazy, and if you can run the ball here, it's over. Like then you can hit them over the top. You can get them 100 different ways as far as that goes. As long as Nico plays the way that he played against UTC and has that same accuracy and that same composure, and I don't see a reason why he wouldn't here. Even though I'm hoping he gets more more of a test here. If he doesn't, NC State is in for a long season.
But, I don't know how long. They're in the ACC.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Do they play Florida State? Do they play? I don't know.
Oh, God, Florida State stinks, Clemson. Man. But I think Tennessee will get a lot on the ground. I think they'll get a lot through the air. They're going to crack off some big plays because, oh man, Nico just throws such a beautiful long ball, man. God, if he, like I said, if he can just still have that same composure and that same accuracy, this one's done. And I'll give NC State a little more credit. I'll go 41-21. 20-point win. But 3 touchdowns for NC State. That's all they get. And yeah, it's a big win for Tennessee. 20-point win. AFK TV. He just says 31-13. I assume Tennessee is the choice there. Maybe it's NC State. Maybe it's an NC State fan. I don't know. Wes says 51-13 Vols. I could see any of that. I could also see, and in fact, I would almost predict it might be close at halftime. It might not be a runaway train already at halftime for Tennessee, or it might. It might be like the LSU game in Baton Rouge a couple of years ago where you're just already beating their head in by halftime. Who knows? But I could see it maybe being, 17-10 at halftime. Oh, it's closer. And then, Tennessee breaks off 3 touchdowns on 3 consecutive drives or something. And suddenly they're up a lot bigger than they were. So yeah. So 41-21, you said 45-13.
Mm-hmm.
Total blowout, man. I hope so. I hope for everybody. Yeah, it's BG says 41-21. We appreciate all the comments, all of the predictions. Oh, and AFK TV says it's definitely UT. So he's not an NC State fan. My father-in-law, NC State alum, and an NC State fan. I'll probably be watching the game with him. Chances are he lives like 5 minutes from me. So, yeah, I'll be in the midst of an NC State fan. I watched the game this last week. It was a huge group of people, but with an Alabama fan. That was interesting, actually. Got to talk to him a little bit about how he's feeling about the new coach and the whole situation, but not a huge fan of watching football games with Alabama fans. Not going to lie there. But, sometimes you don't get to choose your company there. Eric says 42-17. Again, I assume the Vols. And, yeah, good times. All right. We appreciate everybody for commenting, tuning in. Nugs asks, he said, good show, fellas. We appreciate it, Nugs. He says, will y'all be on the new channel next week? I don't think it will be by next week. If it is, we'll definitely let you know. I think for some amount of time going forward, we're still going to do the live stream here. The clips and other content will be on the new YouTube channel. Again, A to Z Sports Tennessee Volunteers. If you can't find it, we literally rebranded this today, 3 or 4 hours ago. A to Z Sports Tennessee Volunteers. If you can't find it, search up Orange and White Report. Again, it's my old YouTube channel that we just took over and we're making it into the show YouTube channel. If anybody's an OG and remembers Orange and White Report when I was on with Jason Swain, it is there. And so go search that up. And Eric, to answer your question, when it's not Labor Day, we did Tuesday because it was Labor Day yesterday. Monday, 6 p.m. Worst case scenario, 7 p.m. like this, where sometimes we have stuff come up. But we really, during the football season, we really try to stick to Monday at 6 p.m. So look out for it there. And again, A to Z Sports Tennessee Volunteers. Go subscribe to the channel. Monday, 6 p.m. live streams on the A to Z Sports Nashville channel for now. And hopefully in the not too distant future on the new channel, we'll be live streaming there. We just got to get it built up a little bit before we start live streaming there. So